Martín Pérez is back from the injured list and making the start for the Braves in Game 3 against the San Diego Padres. Here's your 15-minute scouting report for today's game. Yes, this is your Braves Today scouting report, a production of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby. In the next 15 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to know before first pitch. Today, it's the Braves and the San Diego Padres in Game 3 of the series. So let's get into it. Both teams have put out their lineups for the day. For the Atlanta Braves, it is the same guys as yesterday, but in a little bit of different orders. Drake Baldwin behind the plate, leading off. Ozzie Albies batting second. Matt Olson batting third. After that, you flip Michael Harris and Austin Riley. Michael Harris is batting cleanup in center field. Austin Riley at third base batting fifth. Mike Yastrzemski moves up to the sixth spot, again at designated hitter, not Dominic Smith, with Mauricio Dubon dropping down from 6 to 7 and being in left field. Jim Jarvis and Brewer Hicklin also swap places. Jarvis had multiple hits last night, including a 2 RBI triple. He moves up to the number 8 spot, playing shortstop and getting a spot on the graphic. Shout out to Jimmy Baseball for that, with Brewer Hicklin in right field batting 9th. Baldwin, Albies, Olson, Harris, Riley, Yastrzemski, Dubon, Jarvis, and Hicklin. The same guys as yesterday, but again, a little bit of a different order here. Starting for the Braves on the mound, Martín Pérez. Coming off the IL to make this start, 6-6 with a 3.54 ERA. It is a 5-pitch mix. Sinker changeup are the two main pitches that he's rocking with there, but he also has a cutter. He's throwing a high 70s curveball and that four-seamer that just, barely averages 90 miles an hour, right? The biggest thing that he is good at doing, it's not necessarily getting chased or whiffs or strikeouts. It is getting ground balls and getting soft contact. His 88-mile-an-hour average exit velocity, 64th percentile in baseball. His hard hit rate, 64th percentile. His barrel rate, 64th percentile. He's good at taking the sting out of the swing, as it's called. Again, ground ball rate, 47.7% is 78th percentile. The biggest thing here, honestly, biggest question here is, he's coming off the injured list. What's he going to look like? Is this one of those, I am well rested because other than like some bullpens and playing catch, hasn't really thrown in 2 weeks? Or is this one of those, he's rusty because he hasn't really thrown in 2 weeks? Curious to see what's going to happen here. There are a handful of Padres that have seen Martín Pérez 10 times or more. As you would expect, Manny Machado is the one you need to worry about. He is 7 for 21. With a home run and 3 RBI and an OPS of 1.005 against Martín Pérez. So just heads up there. As always, you have to watch for Manny Machado. And speaking of, here is the lineup for the San Diego Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, leading off. Luis Rengifo, who's kind of been a pest in this series. He's got multiple hits in multiple games. He's moving up to the number 2 spot, but still at DH. They don't want to give him a glove. They just want him to go put balls in play. Manny Machado is batting third at third base, obviously. Ty France batting cleanup at first. He's also kind of been a pest in this series. Jackson Merrill in center field batting 5th. Luis Campusano, the catcher, is batting 6th, with Xander Bogaerts batting 7th behind him. Jake Cronenworth gets bumped down pretty far, all the way to the 8th spot in the order. And then Jace Bowen is in left field batting 9th. Fernando Tatis Jr., Rengifo, Machado, France, Merrill, and Campusano, Bogaerts, Cronenworth, and Bowen. On the mound for the Padres is a guy that we've seen once before this season, and it didn't go well. Michael King. He is 6-7 with a 3.34 ERA. A lot of the estimators say that that's not actually that great of a mark. The expected ERA says 4.62. The field and independent pitching kind of is in the middle at 4.10. It's a 20.7% strikeout rate, which is not actually that great, combined with a 9.7% walk rate, which is below average. So that spread is only 11%, which you want a much bigger spread than that. It is a 5-pitch mix. He throws both a sinker and a four-seamer. He has a changeup, and the 2 breaking balls he throws a sweeper and a slider. It is a horizontal game. There is not a lot of pitches that actually drop that much. It's a big east to west kind of thing. And despite it, he doesn't have massive platoon splits against lefties or against righties. Kind of just interesting how that works. You look at what he does well. He's pretty much average on chase and whiff, right? And again, it's going to be on the sides. He's a guy where ABS is going to matter, right? He's going to get some calls off the plate that are not strikes that he's going to get a strike on. You can challenge it. He's going to have some pitches come close. They'll give it a ball. He's going to challenge it. So ABS does matter here. He doesn't really get hit hard. 33.2% hard hit rate is 83rd percentile. Average exit velo of 87.3 is 79th percentile. And yet, when he gives up a hard hit ball, it's often going to be a barrel because his barrel rate, like really good hard hit rate, really good average exit velocity, and a pretty good ground ball rate, 64th percentile, right? But despite all of that, his barrel rate is still a 34th percentile mark of 8.6. Really kind of odd. Seeing that's not a thing you see a ton. I would guess a lot of that comes on mistake pitches that just get obliterated, right? So the way that he uses these pitches, speaking of, when he's facing lefties here, a lot of changeup and sinkers away. Okay, that's kind of the big thing. Throws a four-seamer up. He does use the sweeper in at times, right? And you'll remember, if it's a righty throwing a sweeper to a lefty, that pitch is going to break in on their hands, or you're throwing it in the other batter's box and hoping it breaks back and catches the edge of the plate. So kind of risky on the usage of the sweeper, but that's what he does. He ramps up that changeup when he's ahead. He drops the sinker and sweeper in those situations. The sweeper's really getting used as a strike-stealing pitch early, and then something he can get strikes on when he's behind in the count. So I guess think of it like you would use a cutter, right? He's using the sweeper like you would use a cutter as far as trying to backdoor it, trying to break it in on your hands. Think of it in that situation when he's facing a lefty. That's how Michael King's using the sweeper. Against righties, it's a little bit different. It's sinker sweeper. That is the main goal here, right? He's got the four-seamer. He's got the changeup. He occasionally has a slider, but he is running sinker sweeper as his main pitches when he faces a righty. He will throw more sinkers early in the count, and when he's behind, kind of a normal adjustment. He'll cut back on how many sinkers he throws when he's ahead and with 2 strikes. Not a weird adjustment. When he cuts back on the sinker when ahead, it's usually to throw more sweepers. A little bit more changeup, but usually to throw more sweepers. When he cuts back on the sinker with 2 strikes, it's to throw more four-seamers and more changeups. So there's a little bit more variability from a pitch-to-pitch basis when you're a righty facing Michael King than there is against a lefty. Speaking of against righties, he is very, very good at first pitch strikes to righties. Lefties, it's a toss-up whether or not that first pitch is going to be in the zone or not. But if you're a righty, there is a very strong proclivity to first pitch strikes. And a lot of that's because he's maining a sinker there, right? 40% usage on the first pitch or early in the count to righties. So there's a good chance that sinker is going to be in the zone. And if you're possibly sitting on that sinker, you know it's going to be in the zone. You have the ability to get set up to try to elevate that pitch. We'll see what the Braves do today, if they ambush a couple or if they get into the at-bat and give him the ability to unleash that sweeper and then have to deal with that running off the plate. Nobody has a ton of experience on the Braves roster off of Michael King. The only guy that's taken him deep is Ozzie Albies. Ozzie's 1 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBI. That's it. So not a ton of experience here. And again, when he faced the Braves back in June, 7 scoreless innings. He struck out 5. He didn't walk anybody. And he scattered 6 hits, but they were all singles. Braves lost that game 1-0. So let's hope the Braves can have a little more success against Michael King today than they did back in June when they didn't have success really off of anybody. Bullpen status for both teams. Shout out to Victor Medeiros and J.R. Ritchie, because Medeiros 29 pitches on Monday, Ritchie 68 pitches last night. That means all of the leverage arms have gotten 2 days off since they threw on Saturday and on Sunday. Medeiros probably would come back if you asked him to. I imagine they want to give him one more day. Danny Young threw 13 pitches on Monday. He can likely come back and pitch today if they need him to. Tyler Kinley threw 14 pitches last night. He likely can come back if they need him to. They gave him the 9th and 5-run game, so I don't think they have a lot of trust in Kinley. But if you're in a similar situation, you can use him. Or Eliezer Hernandez is still here. You still haven't used him. And so I assume he's probably your designated long man for this one. But shout out to J.R. Ritchie for eating the majority of that game last night and allowing the Braves to give the rest of the leverage guys a second night off. For the Padres, little crazier of a bullpen usage chart right now. Long man Matt Waldron hasn't pitched since Saturday. He's the only guy who hasn't pitched in the last 3 days. And so, personally, I would love for the Braves to have a big enough lead where they just ask Waldron to cover 3 or 4 innings, and we get to see some knuckleballs. Love a good knuckleball. Would love for Waldron to get into the game because the Padres are down by 9, and they just want to give him a chance to get some work in and eat some innings. Would love for that to happen. When you look at the rest of the pen, Wandy Peralta pitched a back-to-back Sunday and Monday. He got yesterday off. Question is, are they comfortable bringing him back 3 games in 4 days? If they're not, that does take a lefty out of the mix. Yuki Matsui, another lefty, he's pitched twice in 3 days, 40 pitches in the last 3 days. If they don't want to pitch him 3 games in 4 days, that means a lot of the onus on being a lefty in this pen is going to come down to Kyle Hart. He threw on Friday. He threw on Monday. He had that fantastic pickoff move on Eli White in I think the 8th inning. And then the other option there is Adrian Morejon. Setup man, he threw 10 pitches last night. You have him again. So even if you don't throw Matsui or Peralta, the Padres still have 2 lefties they can go to today. It's the benefits of having 4 lefties in your pen. It's kind of nice. Mason Miller, 21 pitches last night. They're definitely going to ask him to come back today if they have a lead. The thing that I think about is the top of the order got to see Mason Miller last night. Does that help you if you're down by a run and you get to see him again tonight? Part of me thinks yes. Part of me thinks no, it doesn't matter when he's throwing 103. We'll see what happens. They've got the pieces they need, but nobody other than Waldron's really that fresh because they've all pitched in this series. So we'll see what happens going into this. Final thoughts on this one. Braves Today sponsor FanDuel has the Braves favored tonight, -118 on the money line, over under of 8.5 runs. I don't really see it, right? I don't want to be negative to the Braves or anything, but you've got Perez coming off the IL. You don't know what you're going to get from him. Michael King shut the Braves down last time he faced them. Again, 6 hits, all singles, no runs, no walks. So Braves are a favorite here. I don't really see it. I hope they make me eat crow in this one. But either way, that's your Braves Today scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, everything behind the numbers, make sure you are subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. And today's 3 things are game recap over at bravestoday.com.